Hello, welcome to my office. My office for today is in Cornwall, New York. Tomorrow it's going to be back in Brooklyn. And yes, I'm about ready to step into my car. I would show you a bit around, but it's kind of rainy today and cold. So yes, I wanted to talk a little bit about my office and how my office has become the world pretty much. So yes, what happened is I lost my job of 20 years due to some discrimination. I see where that noise is coming from. So yes, back on track. I lost my job of 20 years due to discrimination. And how did I manage to see it as an opportunity and not get freaked out? Because 20 years of stability out the window can be very, very unsettling. And I'm not going to say that there wasn't this moment where I sat in the parking lot on the last day of my employment with my employer going, oh boy, all right, what is this going to look like? What now? Like, how is this going to all work? So I've been a entrepreneur, a businesswoman since 2011, but my business was not in any way, shape, or form ready to sustain me full time. So being faced with not having a day job was not the ideal. It was not the ideal. But what I did was, one of the things I did was choose to look at my new situation with curiosity. Now, as a confidence coach, I've talked a lot about curiosity in the past in terms of healing. After going through, a breakup in a relationship or, a traumatic event, an emotional or physical trauma. And for me, part of my healing and even forgiving someone who had hurt me very deeply, curiosity was a huge, important key for my healing. I actually ended up coming to a place of choosing to forgive someone who hurt me when I became curious of what would happen in my life. What would my life look like if I chose to forgive him, right? What would even possibly happen with that relationship if I was even open to forgiving him? What new opportunities for my other relationships would happen, would open up? How would I grow as a woman? How would I change as a woman? How would my relationship with myself change, right? These were all things I became curious about and led me to forgive. And so when I came into a position, again, a very, very uncomfortable position of losing economic stability, I tapped into that key that I had learned in my personal life and applied it to my professional life and chose to look at it as, okay, well, now I'm going to find out what will happen. So instead of looking at it as, okay, I just lost my job, I just lost my primary source of income, I chose not to look at it as loss, but as possible gain. What can I gain out of this? What new adventures is this going to give me? What new opportunities am I going to be able to experience and discover? So I switched my thinking from loss to possibility. Of course, entrepreneurship, if you have ever been a small business owner or the CEO of a company, even if it wasn't your own company, right, but the CEO of like even a major corporation, you know that business is something that's in flux, right? And so there's never any guarantee. There's always some level of uncertainty, but there's always some level of certainty that also exists, that within the uncertainty, there's great possibilities for learning, for meeting new people. It's a Monday. It is a Monday and I'm in my car in this town in upstate New York. I just did a photo shoot for a client. And it's kind of exciting, right? For me, if I had had my previous job, if my employer had not let me go, I wouldn't be in this opportunity. Has it been easy? Absolutely not easy. And some days it's been really difficult, right? I'm like, I don't even know where my next dollar is going to come from. I had a point where I was like, I am $120 short on being able to pay my car note for the month. What do I do? So I was literally praying and going, well, God, you know that I need to pay this car note. How's this going to work? I'm $120 about that short. And do you know, as I was praying, I got a message from someone who had a job for me that very evening, and that job paid me a little bit more than what my car note was. So for an hour's work, I got my car note taken care of and a little bit something more. So sometimes we even get into this pinch and this crunch where we do step out in curiosity and we're like, well, let's try it. But then it can get really tight, right? And you're like, well, how is this going to work? But what has kept me going and pushing through and continuing as an entrepreneur, even on the really hard days where I'm like, how is this all going to work out? And how am I going to stay in the green? And how am I going to increase my profits and my earnings? And how am I going to do this all? All I know is when people tell me or ask me, what are you doing, Beth? I'll be like, I am minding my business. Literally, it is my favorite thing to say to people. And there's this curiosity that is keeping me calm of, well, what will happen if I keep minding my business every day? What will happen if I try this new thing? What if I reach out to this network? What if I join with this group of people to build my business? You know? So there have been so many things that I have tried in the past year that have worked, that have really helped me and been beneficial, right? And that's the thing, the curiosity of what will happen when I don't give up, right? And that's something that I wanted to share for you, whether it is something financial, whether it's something professional, whether it's something with a personal relationship, whether it's something with your health, whatever it is, having that curiosity and continuing on and wondering what would happen if I keep pushing forward. Now, we always do have to use wisdom, right? And we don't want to be foolish in our curiosity. We want to be wise, right? So it's important we ask God for wisdom and direction, who to reach out to, where to go, what do you want for me, God, right? How do you want my story to unfold, right? These are things that we do want to also keep in check, right? We don't want to just be out here just doing everything helter skelter. So strategic curiosity, with a plan, right? I do have a plan. I'm not just like randomly out here every day going, So, having a plan, but keeping that curiosity. And so if this is something that you're struggling with, though, and you're like, yes, Beth, I hear you and I understand you. And I even see myself in positions like where you are in, maybe not my exact position, but you're in a time of economic uncertainty. You're not sure what's going to happen with your financial life or your professional life. I do have something coming up. April, in case you don't know, now you're gonna know, is Stress Awareness Month. And so for that month, the entire month of April, I am doing a 4-week free mastermind. It's 4 weeks every week. It's Tuesdays. The mastermind is going to be Tuesdays from 8 to 9 p.m. Every week is going to be discussion. It's going to be more strategies and techniques for evicting fear and being able to keep our peace and being comfortable with being uncomfortable and being able to navigate and make plans and sort of make pivots or changes or adjustments as needed, right? But doing it all from a calm place, not a place of fear, not a place of panic. We cannot be making our moves in fear. That's when we do make mistakes. That's when we do make the wrong decisions for ourselves, financially, professionally, with our relationships, with our health decisions, with, whatever it is that's concerning us. If we start moving in fear, we do not always end up at the right spot. But that is why I'm doing this mastermind. Now, the mastermind is free, but the mastermind does go along with a 20-day challenge. And so the 20-day challenge is only $19.97. So you get a 20-day challenge that gives 20 days. Everything is biblically based. So founded on principles and truths, like universal God-given truths that apply, actually, to be honest, for both Christians and non-Christians. Some of these promises that God makes, yes, some of them are tied to our faith and to choosing Jesus as the person who we're going to follow. But there are also even principles in the Bible and promises of God that are open to any of us who are humans. So this challenge, even though it's biblically based, and even though I'm also going to be doing the mastermind from a biblical perspective, it can be open to anyone. So I do want to encourage you to not feel like, oh, if it's biblical, it's not for me. Well, to be honest, the Bible was written for humanity. It was not written for Christians. It was written for humanity because God cares about all of us. He is all of our creators, whether you believe it or not. It's true. He created me, he created you, and he cares about my success and your success just as much. He wants us all to thrive and flourish. And it says he gives us a spirit of sound mind, which is logic. And Jesus is called the Prince of Peace. So we are meant to walk through this life, even when we have hard times, in peace and logically and calmly, not in fear. It says he does not give us a spirit of fear. So if you are ever afraid, you know that does not come from God, right? It's going to come from somewhere else. And that's a spirit. And we have to make sure that we evict it. We don't want anything holding us down, holding us back, preventing us from continuing on in life, in peace, and in confidence. So yes, I'm going to put the link below this video where you can register for the 20-day challenge. Now, the 20-day challenge is up. That's actually live. So you could actually start that 20-day challenge today, right? And by April, you could be halfway through it, more than halfway through it, actually. And then just be using the mastermind for additional support. and guidance. And then during the mastermind, I'm also going to be answering questions around whatever it is that people have questions about regarding even the daily 20-day daily challenge activities, right? So, you know, my best friend was super curious for the longest time. She was like, how are you doing this, Beth? If I was in your position, I would be freaking out right now. And, you know, I know there are other people who have probably been more concerned for me than I've even been concerned for me. And how have I managed it? I'm not saying every day has been perfect. There have been days where I have panicked and been like, oh my goodness, right? So I am human just like you. It's not like I've just had a cakewalk here with building my business from like 10% to 100, right? I wasn't going from 0 to 100. I was going from about 10 to 100. But, you know, it has not been a picnic. It has not been easy. But how have I managed to most days stay calm, curious, and just do my best, right? That is what I'm going to be teaching in this 20-day challenge, as well as the mastermind class. So even if you're not going through something right now, the human experience, life is life. We all are going to go through some kind of hardship at some point. You're either having just gone through it, or you're going through it, or you're going to be going through something, right? That's it. Or maybe you just got done going through something, but it doesn't mean that you won't want some additional tools for the next time you go through things. So this challenge, it's great as a refresher for people who are Christians, for refreshing your faith. If you are a new Christian and just new to learning about God, this is going to give you like a really solid foundation in getting to know him and his character better, and how he plans and desires to care for you, to provide for you, to keep you safe. And then if you are not a Christian, this Evict Fear Challenge is still for you, because God still loves you, whether you choose him or not, and he does want the best for you. And these are just also, you know, principles and even the techniques that I'm going to be giving, you know, through this, the wellness and the mindset techniques and the self-care techniques. These are something that you can definitely benefit from and learn from. So yes, tap the link below this video, register for the 20-day challenge. In order to be eligible to be part of the free masterminds class or classes, there's 4 different consecutive weeks. You must register for the 20-day challenge by March 31st, right? So that when April comes, you are good to go, because that's it. We're going. We are going. We are moving forward. We are leveling up. But to level up our lives, we have to evict fear. We can't level up. Fear pulls us down. So to level up, we have to evict fear. All right? So I'll be back soon, and have a wonderful rest of your day or evening. Peace.